Welcome to Investor Corner, starring Chrissy, Jordan Farrell, and Tony. All right, so who's going to kick us off today? What about you, Jordan Farrell? Why don't you start us off with a little something?
Yeah, I want to know about your chili cook-off this weekend.
That was really fun. So I had the pleasure of announcing the Women's Club of Flagler Beach. They held a veterans or service members chili cook-off, and we had I want to say we had 9 participants. It was a little lower than last year, but the public that came and tasted was actually more, I think. So it was a very good show up for that. The same guy as last year. I think the guy that won Public Choice Award won this year total, but it raised a bunch of money. The Women's Club of Flagler Beach does a lot of wonderful different things to raise money for local charity, but this is one of their main events, and it was a lot of fun announcing it. Got to hang out with the different police chiefs, fire chiefs, and so forth, retired members of the service community as well. And got to taste some wonderful chili. So next year, hopefully this podcast takes off really well. We can promote it a little bit before the chili cook-off and help them out. But it was very good showing, a lot of fun, beautiful weather. Thank God.
Yeah.
The weather's changed in Florida, and we're
back to summer.
Back to summer again, and the cold is over. But beautiful day in Flagler Beach.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the cold's over. The little groundhog saw a shadow.
Well, more than likely, we're going to have a little bipolar weather.
Yeah.
We're in that stage of the Flagler, Florida lifestyle, bipolar weather, but we're getting closer.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have a sub 30.
I
hopefully.
hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gone during all that out of the country, but I remember last year that was a delicious little day.
So chili, beans in or beans out? I know that's like a big controversy. Some people like them and some people don't.
All I care about is the meat in it.
Well,
to be honest with you.
I got to say.
Did the chili win with beans or without beans?
I think it actually had some beans in it.
Okay.
So there needs to be a separate category next year because, in my opinion, my only opinion, beans or no beans, I don't think makes a difference. My opinion, though, is a white chili should not compete with a normal chili.
That's blasphemy.
Whoa. It's all chili, though. What's the difference?
The only time chili shouldn't have beans is if it's going on a hot dog. Okay. Other than that, throw some beans in there.
Said
do
that's
it right.
blasphemy.
So come on, let's not get cheap at that point.
So
right?
why not white chili either?
It's just a different genre completely.
But it's still a chili.
So if you like cream and cheese,
fair.
you're gonna like the white chili, and almost everybody in the world likes cream and cheese, at some way, shape, or form. So a tomato base versus a cream base is like.
So do a separate category next year.
So it'd be like Maryland style crab soup versus New England clam chowder.
Oh, that's okay.
Like, how are you really competing against?
Well, now you know you got two separate divisions next year.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I would push for it, but there was only 2 white chilies in there, so.
Well, maybe if you make a separate category, make it enticing, more people will come.
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be kind of cool.
I think so.
I remember last year there was, I didn't know if they should really be doing this, but I think they were some people were serving like cornbread with it or something like something that really went along with the chili that kind of may have skewed some votes.
Yeah, and almost everybody
possible?
does that.
It's possible the cornbred makes the chili?
So, I mean, if you can do that, just make some chili and with some chocolate cake on the side. You'd be like, I really like that. That booth was great,
The funny,
I would anyway.
Yeah, the funny part is I actually held a chili cook-off for 6 years. I actually self-promoted it, ran it at Breakaways in Flagler Beach before COVID, and we kind of stopped when COVID hit. But they are very, very particular about their sides. And if there's not enough table room, they're like, oh, I'm going to lose now. I can't. And they get really upset about it. And so they try to, like, when people are coming up, the people that are really passionate about it, they'll stand behind their crock of chili, and they'll be like, can I do this? Can I do this?
Some Fritos in
there.
Yeah.
Did you see, there's like an event coming up where all the restaurants are partaking in like a walkthrough in Flagler Beach. I want to say it's this weekend or next weekend on Saturday. Did you see that? It's like it was all over Facebook. It's like an event where locals can go and do walkthroughs at each of the restaurants and taste test.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Well, there's one coming up with Flagler Strong, but I don't think
maybe
it's
that was it.
Oh yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that's the bar crawl thing that they do. It's so there's usually like a tasting and like a drink that they do. I don't unfortunately know the name of that what it is. I should. I can probably Google it fast enough, but
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's a great event. It's a great event. They do it every year.
So it's kind of like the one in New Smyrna where they have bikes and they do the bike crawl down there.
Yeah, it's similar. You'll get a good group of people just running back and forth. I think it is a bar crawl though, primarily. That you have a beverage at each location and some food.
Oh wow, that sounds like fun. I should go there, start taping like an hour after this just to watch everyone walk down the street. Then I love people watching, don't you?
Yeah, I'd love it.
You probably sit at your office on that deck and be like, I'm watching all this stuff.
I wonder what they're thinking.
I know, right? I'm going to get this on camera. This is going to go bad real quick.
I wonder if they're thinking about buying a luxury home.
Well, speaking of buying stuff, so in luxury home and real estate, so I saw over the weekend something about this Margarita Hotel, and there's a lot of negative, couple comments of positive, but it's there. It's not going anywhere.
Topics of controversy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if you're in real estate, you kind of want to hide from this whole topic because, if you take one side or the other, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
And I told you that beforehand. What I will say is this. It's already there. Yes, the view is not maybe as nice on top of the bridge coming down. Maybe you don't like the look of it where it's located, even take away the view altogether. And just say in the middle of town you don't like the look of it, but it's already there. Did it destroy the view from the top bridge? It's still gorgeous. Flagler Beach is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is it going to be bad for the area? It's yet to be seen. I honestly think with the increase of tourism to the area, because we had a lack
I think the local businesses would thrive.
It should help local business.
Agree.
And also bring in people to buy in our area
real
estate.
Exactly. It gives a spot for people to do that. Now, people that live there long term, the people that have owned there forever, that have their single family home, will it change the face of Flagler Beach slightly from a less touristy destination to a more tourist destination? Of course it will. You're going to have another 100 bedrooms. How many people are you fitting in each bedroom? Up to 4. You could have up to another 400 people in town. I think the bigger issue isn't necessarily the impact on the way it looks in town. It's there. We don't have anything we do with it. We can I've seen people wishing harm to the project. Everything.
I saw the one about the sinkhole. They're like praying for a sinkhole. I'm like, that's horrible.
So if you live in the area and it's already going to happen, it's already there. You should be at this point in stage. It's too late.
Yeah.
Your opinion matters. Yes, it does, but you're not going to change it. So the only thing we can do is, like anything else in this life, now we say, okay, what's best for everybody in the community? Well, what's best at this point is to support the project in one shape, way, or form. Now, you can still keep an eye on it. If there's regulations you don't agree to, speak up before they happen and keep an eye on the city council. But at this point, we want to see it succeed because it's the best for everybody in the area, whether it's your property value, whether it's your local business per person. Mom and pop business needs support.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great thing for the area because of the mom and pop businesses that are struggling right now with having people able to get to their businesses. And most of these people are going to be foot traffic. So the people within the commercial district of 10th Street to 10th Street are going to get a massive influx of people that are now able to facilitate their shops and everything else. So yes, everybody on each side is honestly right in their own way.
Yeah.
And we can't say that they are wrong. Their point of views are accurate. Yes, the view is not as good. Cool. It's done. We can't change that. It's already there. You're not going to rip down something and cause harm to the economy in Flagler Beach. What we can do is support it, keep an eye on regulations, speak up when regulations are happening you don't agree to, and just stay aware of the things. Be more active in that realm of
that was well
community.
put.
Yeah, Jordan's right there. I've lived in Flagler County, moved here in '92. So when I moved here, there was I think you said you were here '83. So
yeah.
I moved around the same time you did, Matt.
Okay.
Major
so
growth.
It was very small, so it definitely changed the look of Flagler Beach. They do have that hotel there, but there are some good things, as Jordan's saying. But at the end of the day, Jordan's right. I mean, it is there, so you can either focus on the bad, or you can focus on the good and what it's doing to the local businesses and the economy there, and how it's going to drive some tourism there to help all the businesses out. So it all depends on how you look at it. But I like to look at things in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I'd like to focus on the good and not dwell on the negative that it brings. And that's just me. Everyone has a right to their
I don't
opinion.
know the numbers for Flagler Beach, but I can tell you in Palm Coast that 92% of our tax base rests on the back of the residents and 8% on businesses. And my outlook on it is that the hotel is going to bring in all the tourists, which is going to boost business, which in effect will reduce the tax burden on the residents of Flagler Beach. And that's really the way it's going to be.
It's a massive tax burden. This isn't small. You're talking a huge increase in taxes being paid to the city that is going to improve municipalities, it's going to improve our water systems, our fire departments, our police. Now, the bigger issue that we're going to need to deal with in the next, and they've had conversations about it since I moved here, is our parking issue in Flagler Beach.
Yeah.
And I am working on something right now to present to the city of Palm Coast to potentially help with that. But they need to start focusing on a 5, 10, 20-year goal versus focusing on today and just saying, okay, this is what's happening today. Yes, that's important, but we have people to focus on that. What people aren't focusing on is our future problems, which is our municipalities and our transportation.
Do you know if anyone ever mentioned the transportation? Because if you think about it, there's nowhere to put even a garage within the facility. Like, you have to bus over the bridge or something.
I've spoke up at meetings, and yes, it has been brought up. It is going to be a constant issue. Now, there are some solutions that are smart solutions to all these problems, but it takes the entire county, I believe, working together versus just Flagler Beach to make it work.
And that's been an issue.
That is an issue. We did actually go to an industrial meeting this morning. The city is working towards some goals for certain things like that in the future. And I think there are people stepping up into a more a headspace of future outlook for the community.
Is there a parking area in the plan as of right now, like the way it is?
There's a parking lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Not a plan.
I don't know how many rooms are in that and how many.
Well, so there's 100 bedrooms or 100 units, and that doesn't include your facilitating of employees. There is generally. So I used to develop condos in Ocean City, Maryland. There's usually a per building guidelines a certain amount of parking spots per unit per capacity of the entire property to meet code requirement. There were parking spaces that were removed on the north-facing side of 2nd Street that are going to have to be dealt with for the city because that's a loss of parking. Now, the city has been trying to acquire parking for a while, and they did actually get a new lot recently in Flagler Beach. But there is a for an investor to come into the area. I think it is primed to have some very good investors come in and to facilitate some issues that we're going to be having in the near future, which could be profitable for multiple different types of investors. And that's really what I'm focusing on. It's like, okay, how can I enable these investors? How can we, the IDBA, Industrial Development Board, there's bonds that are available to, help some of these, and they give you a wonderful tax exemption for people that are coming in to invest in that realm. But that's why we, as Florida Beaches, try to stay up to date with upcoming plans and be part of these boards and or be part of the information of these things so that we can better guide our clients and hold their hands through the process.
So Tony, what do you think it does to the property value around it now?
Well, I mean, if you have a bunch of tourists that are coming looking there, and I think anyone that lives in Flagler County, especially Flagler Beach,
mainly
it's a beautiful
Flagler
area.
Beach. Yeah,
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So
it's kind of like a hidden gem.
Exactly. So it's not going to be so much of a hidden gem. I think a lot of people are going to want to move here, which ultimately is going to, increase property values.
And we're already seeing it. And being in real estate for 22 whatever years I am now, 23. If you were up north, so Ocean City, for instance, or Virginia Beach in particular, that I can think of off the top of my head as a very obvious restructure, you'll start seeing, and we're starting to see it in Flagler, where they're tearing down houses and they're building new houses versus just buying land. We're running out of land. When you start seeing that happen, the price values really are just kind of waiting to go up. Now, we're going through a economic cycle right now of change, with new structure of new government heads and everything else that's going on. So it's, the time frame of it is questionable. But do I see property values going up in the next 5 years? 100%. No question. Are they going to come up this year? More than likely not.
Okay.
Maybe slightly. But it's going to take a while because you got to see the new policies come into action and everything else. But with development, which is still happening, or I just sold a piece of land in a flood zone area within 7 days, sold and got
congratulations.
A very good price on it.
That's not that easy nowadays.
No, and that one in my head when I was listening was this is going to be a problem, and I thought I was listening slightly high, and it sold immediately. So and by the way, there's many ways, and this could be another topic later, to develop in flood areas. Maryland, most of West Ocean City, West Ocean City is in a flood zone, and we developed it just fine, and everybody's protected.
There's a lot of flood zones around here.
but that being said, that is a primed area for Flagler Beach to be redeveloped, because the majority of Flagler Beach on Flagler Avenue, down by the canal systems, a lot of those were built with bad codes and low lying, so the elevation was too low. There's plenty of building material available, plenty of innovation that you can do to live in a flood zone, which the flood zone areas generally are the ones that have the water view, that have the water access. They're the most beautiful areas that we have. But there are ways to develop those areas where you're protecting your asset versus having to deal with a flood every year. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, over the last 10 years, we've had some major issues in that realm, and it's been very sad to see some things that happen to many people, because you think about a senior with a fixed income that's living in their dream home, and they're having to deal with a flood. It's not possible. They're going to have to sell. They're going to have to move. And unfortunately, if it got flooded, they're losing a pretty large percentage of their asset if they don't have insurance. And insurance being what it is in Florida right now, hopefully we see that with the government municipalities too, that we see a decrease in that and the cost of it. But the requirements, if you build a properly built house in a flood zone and you build the elevation up to meet the required standards to be outside of like the 500-year floodplain zone, you can get a low insurance policy for flood. I built 3 myself over on the end of 19th Street, right around COVID, and my insurance policies for flood insurance was $550 to $750 per house. That's nothing for having full coverage for flood.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about, because another thing that people are writing in that they want to talk about is insurance. Who gets covered, who doesn't now with hurricanes and different things. And I guess after seeing the wildfires over in California, I know that's not the case here, but people are like, who's insured and who's not now, because there's a lot of stories going around that maybe we can clear up in a few weeks on a podcast.
So I would be more amped to bring in one of our preferred vendors, an insurance person, to answer that, versus being we know a lot about it, but are we the source of information on that? No. You want an insurance person to come in and answer those questions that actually lives and breathes that. Like we live and breathe real estate. We live and breathe, investment in this company.
We know a lot, or a little about everything.
Yeah.
But to specialize and have specific questions, you want someone that's...
And we discussed that the first podcast, is the sphere of influence that we provide. We don't rely on ourselves being, and honestly, I don't view myself as being all-knowing.
It's all opinions too, a lot of it.
But we have very good people. I have a wonderful financial planner, I have a wonderful lawyer, I have wonderful insurance companies. We have wonderful
Inspectors,
people.
The list goes on and on.
But it's
a lot of moving parts.
It's who you surround yourself with and that you trust. Like, I know my title company, I can hand them a file. They're going to do the very best job for my clients, hands down.
Every time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. Well, Tony, I'll let you close out.
Well, I want to thank you for visiting us today at Investor Corner. We wish you well, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.